We can do a batch installation where this whole thing, if you lay this out, believe it or not, it can be laid out efficiently. That's the whole point. And I've made this already in previous videos, so I'm sure you got it. Enable editing, right? You can say what web host manager goes on, basically what dedicated server goes on, and what the domains are, what subdomains you want them to install from. All you have to do is make sure that the domains you want to put in here are in your server list. Because see how in this case, it does not use the cPanel information. It does not ask you for your cPanel username or pass because it already knows. Okay, how does it know? Because it's already in here. Okay, so here's where you would mass upload all your servers, or just upload them as you get them, one at a time. Okay, and that's very efficient and simple. It takes seconds. And then when you're done, now that you have it all in your server list, you can install software to it. And here's the subdomain subdomain names, usernames. I'm sorry, the subdomains themselves, whatever they are on each of these domains. Okay. And oh, by the way, the server is not the WHM in this case. My mistake. We ought to rename these to make them a little more clear. See, if there are only two and there's a subdomain, it must be that the first one is the top level domain, like domain 1 or 2, whatever it is, host 1 or 2, who knows. And then this could be which domain you want it to be. So either it's the same one, because it's still the top level domain, or it's an add-on domain, one of your drop-down add-on domains. Okay, and then your subdomain. Of course, if there's a subdomain and an add-on domain, that's assumed that you want the subdomain on the add-on domain. If you want it on the root, then just make sure that's the same domain you use here. So this is the top level domain, and then this can either be that top level domain again or a different add-on domain. It's just it. Once you connect to here, it asks which domain do you want, and you just tell it whether it's the same one or a different one on that account. All right, there's your subdomain. It'll up and create it for you. It'll create the database user, the database name, the database pass. It'll do all of it. Keep in mind, if this is user and this is the database name, then the name of the database happens to be between the name of the user and the name of the pass. I believe you can swap the order, but if not, just keep that in mind. You should be able to swap the order, but if you don't, just keep that in mind. All right. Your zip file, you're going to copy it from your repository. Remember how we did that? We just went straight to the repository, file repository, right? And we selected something, whatever it was, and we just copied the link, which gave us our link, and we could literally paste it in. Boom. Okay? There you go. You can see it. So if that was the only thing I was installing everywhere, then I could just bring it down, right? Okay, of course, all of this has to match up, right? Whatever it is that you're going to put. Now, many fields are going to be blank. It could be that this is the top level domain, this is so, but it uses an add-on domain. Maybe this one uses a subdomain, maybe that one does not. All the combinations. And then some instances, you don't actually want to upload the software complete with the username and pass. You just want to upload like a Google verification file, so you do not need a new database username and pass. Just leave it blank. You can leave it blank. Okay, row by row. You can just put the information you need and ignore information you don't. If you're only uploading zip files that you want to be extracted, of course, if you upload a zip file, it will self-extract, because what good is a zip file all zipped up, right? The assumption is if you're uploading it, you want it extracted. Somebody asked me, what if I need my Google verification file and 2 or 3 other guys' verification file? Well, go to google.com/webmasters, log in, get your downloadable verification file that you need to put into the root of every domain you want to get control of in Google Webmasters, okay? And stick all those files, and people used to say, don't I have to download a new one for each domain? The answer is no. When you download it once, you'll find it's an HTML file with a very particular name. If you go to add a new domain in Google Webmasters and download it again, then you're going to find that it's the exact same file. So even if you're going to put it on 100 domains, it's the exact same file every single time. It's your file. Ain't that beautiful? So you can install your Google Webmaster verification file to all of your accounts all at once, so you can get access to all of the statistics inside your Google Webmasters account. Now, having said that, Say you've got partners you work with, so you have 2 or 3 or 4 Google verification files. You and your partners each downloaded your own and you got them together. Send them an email or something. Somebody has them all. Then take all of them together, zip it up, upload it, stick it in your repository with some sort of title like, you know, our verification files, whatever it is, okay, in the repository, right? Just create some new folder, you know, call it like group. Always use dashes, don't use spaces, just for good habits, right? Google Webmaster Tool verification files, right? And once you have that created, okay, boom, then you'll have it in your list, boom. And once you're there, then you can, if there's anything in there, then great, you can choose it. If not, then just upload right now, and then just upload. That's what the button's for right here. So I could drag a zip file here. It needs to be a zip file or a SQL file or something else. Just drag it and then hit upload, okay? And then that way you can select it and then you can actually install it, right? So that's great. So if you have like you and your partner's verification files all together, then you can mass add them. That could be the very path you're grabbing, right? When you go and you copy the path and you paste it in, that could be the one here that you drag down for all of them. And it's going to auto install all of your verification files to everyone's accounts on your server. Everyone that you put in this list, everyone you need. Isn't that cool? It's extremely efficient. Usually trying to do this one account at a time takes like 2 to 3 minutes per account per person for their own verification files, right? Being able to do it this way is just seconds for all of them, basically. A minute maybe, or maybe a couple. And really, there's no issue there. Okay, SQL files, copy from the repository, user passes, whatever you want them to be, security keys, whatever they're supposed to be, email addresses, connection names, file rules, database rules. If you're uploading something and you flat out do not need a section, don't include it. Like these two, you just don't need to include them, okay? Just remember how you do this. You kind of draw a square around your stuff. So like find that 13 is the bottom entry on this side maybe, connection file. Do keep this. It's hoping to see whatever you want the name to be. So just keep the connection file. But whatever else, I mean, it's up to you. But anyway, just right click and highlight. Notice that whenever I copy this information to put into the system, okay, whatever it is, I need to copy the header row so it knows what those individual sections are, right? That way, if I go uploading that whole thing, and what was that for again? That was just for mass installing, right? Subdomains, batch install, paste, right? And I go to verify, process the data. Of course, it's going to tell me this is garbage data. We can't process it. That's why it's grayed out. Otherwise, it would go chung, 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 chung. It would go from yellow to white real fast, and then the button would appear. Start installation says install everything that's good. The answer is nothing's good, so it can't install anything. That's all. Okay, I can discard the list. I can clear the data, right? So it's not all in here like this. I can just clear it. Oh, there you go. All right, so real data will work because it's going to go look up that information, make sure it can prove to itself that it can do, at least it thinks it can do the job, right? It can find the connections and say, yep, I found them, they're here, right? So that's important. So anyway, what comes next?